So an interesting article just came out today where Jeff Strain, the former studio founder at Undead Labs who left the company back in April of 2021, had an interesting quote about State of Decay 3. And guys, it's one of those that's going to make us wonder what the heck is he talking about. If you're new here, subscribe as I cover all things State of Decay 2 and 3 and hit that thumbs up to help us find more survivors joining this fast-growing community. So IGN recently interviewed Jeff Strain, who has opened up a new game development studio in New Orleans called Possibility Space, and for the record, I wonder what on earth he and his team are going to be making, perhaps a rival to State of Decay. Oof, that's another topic for another video. But in this interview, Jeff Strain had some notable quotes, and he talked about how he moved on due in part for some creative renewal, but mostly motivated due to family needing him. But then he mentions how proud of the games he and the team built at Undead Labs, and the quote he says is, "State of Decay 3 is still on its way to achieving its ultimate vision," and the article here is referring that he's talking about the upcoming State of Decay 3 title, and he also then mentions how Microsoft is a much better partner than a decade ago, and how essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, that they're in good hands. So the quote again is that State of Decay 3 is on its way to achieving its ultimate vision. This is a gentleman who only just left the team 6 months ago and would absolutely have intimate knowledge of the direction of this game by now. As we learned, even though State of Decay 3 is still in pre-production, I've gotten verbal confirmation the art team, the majority of the team at Undead Labs, is working on State of Decay 3 right now, and it's mostly, and again, and I'm paraphrasing, a somewhat skeleton crew on State of Decay 2. At least that's how Brandt describes it. But obviously, the quote leaves you wondering, guys, what does this mean that it's on its way to achieving its ultimate vision? Now, if we go ahead and take a time machine all the way back to 2011, and if we head on over to some pages currently, and I mean this still currently on the Undead Labs website, you'll see these curious Q&As talking about Class 3 and Class 4. And I found one here with an explanation that says Class 3 is the code name for the ambitious zombie survival open world game currently under development at Undead Labs for a release as an Xbox Live Arcade title. Now, Class 4 is the code name for the subsequent zombie survival online world game that will be developed building on the Class 3 platform. And if you look further, it mentions how Class 3 is just the 1 to 2 player game which we now know as the original State of Decay, and that Class 4 is essentially an MMO. This question was directly asked to Jeff himself. He even further explains that Class 4 is our large-scale full online world game that will allow thousands of players to run around simultaneously in a much larger server-hosted world. By the way, guys, I'm going to have links to these pages from the Undead Labs websites below and the interview from today as well. And if you're wondering where I got some of these screenshots, they're actually from the Undead Labs website itself, so the concept art was maybe made ahead of time. Either way, guys, this leads to the obvious question. Is this what Jeff Strain is actually talking about? Was State of Decay's ultimate vision always meant to be an MMO? Jeff himself has a history with those games as he came from Guild Wars and even World of Warcraft, but obviously what happened in the years ahead was we got an excellent game in the original State of Decay. Then we got State of Decay 2, and we never saw that persistent online world full of thousands of players. Instead, we got, in my opinion, one of the best single-player sandbox post-apocalyptic games in the market, period. Not quite AAA quality, but still super solid. Now, I don't have the answer as to what that ultimate vision that apparently State of Decay 3 is well on its way to achieving, but it does give you, at least me, some tremendous hope. Now, I've uncovered quite a bit of information in the past 4 months on what direction this game's going in. It's going to be a AAA title backed by Microsoft featuring Unreal Engine 5. They are getting more ambitious with things like the implementation of a relationship system. Not sure how that's going to look, but that in itself is kind of a single player aspect, but it does make you wonder if this game will expand beyond just its single player and its 1 to 2 player roots, and being a big open world where anything can happen within your own world, guys, is why I personally gravitated towards this game. Now, there was plenty of DayZ titles back in early 2011 in those years. There still is a bunch. This game was fresh, and to this day it still remains super fresh compared to a lot of games on the market. But if they somehow manage to keep the current formula and magic we'd all be pretty happy. But what if this title is even more ambitious than any of us think, and they're going to add both a single player and an MMO version? I mean, at this point, it can be anyone's guess, but I know I would hope that State of Decay 3's ultimate vision isn't just to be an MMO on its own. I feel like that would really alienate a lot of us who have been fans of the franchise for so long. I feel like if there's really one thing I'm really sure about is that Jeff isn't off in whatever he means, because this game is set to have that AAA quality, and maybe at the end of the day that is really all he meant, a more bigger, ambitious, story-driven within a sandbox world, with most of the aspects of the game just being better than its former predecessors in every single way possible, just because really technology has gotten much better. And I mean, Undead Labs has a way bigger budget and a much bigger team, which was also confirmed verbally recently from Jeffrey, the State of Decay design director. But either way, I know a lot of you are definitely gonna have thoughts on all this below. What do you guys think Jeff Strain means when he says State of Decay 3 is well on its way to achieving its ultimate vision? Do you think that he just means a bigger and better game, or could it mean an MMO spin-off, or a combination of both? Whatever you guys think, let me know those thoughts below. As always, subscribe and thumbs up if you can. I'm Sunny. As always, stay safe, survivors.